Greetings everyone. Today I want to go through an article with you. It's not news, it's not breaking, but it's from a couple of weeks ago. And in case you missed it, I want to read through this with you and then give a few thoughts on it. It's about a German priest who has left the Catholic Church. So let's go through it. Senior German priest leaves Catholic Church. A senior German priest has announced that he is no longer Catholic, citing his disappointment over a lack of reforms in the church and admitting to having broken his promise of celibacy. Andreas Sturm, the former vicar general of the Diocese of Speyer, I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, in southwestern Germany, made the announcement on May 13th. Sturm, who is joining Germany's old Catholic community, said that he had lost hope and confidence over the years that the Catholic Church can truly transform itself. At the same time, I experience how much hope is placed in ongoing processes such as the Synodal Way, but I'm no longer in a position to also proclaim and honestly and sincerely share that hope because I simply don't have it anymore. So we have a senior German priest who's one of, unfortunately, many priests in the Catholic Church that wants to change things, shake things up a lot, and not for the good. They basically want to change various rules that I'm going to read on and show you. And this priest has decided that he doesn't think it's going to happen, so he left. By the way, apologies if the lighting seems to be changing here, but you know, when the weather outside changes, it does affect where I'm sitting. The former Vicar General described the ordination of women to the priesthood as well as the abolition of compulsory celibacy, dealing with queer people, co-determination of the laity, blessing ceremonies for homosexuals, and overall sexual morality in the church as the most important topics that he believed were not being addressed. So essentially he wants to have women priests, he wants to have blessing of homosexual couples, he wants to have no more celibacy, i.e. basically priests are able to be in relationships. He wants the laity, I suppose, to have more power. He basically wants to kind of make it more like various Protestant churches. And really, if he wants to do all that, it's a good thing that he's left. It's really a blessing for the church that this guy has left. Because there are plenty of priests who have all these ideas and they don't leave. They stick around and they keep meddling. I mean, there's a certain priest who I don't want to name, but I'm sure a lot of you will know who I'm talking about, an American Jesuit priest who has all these similar ideas, and he's not going anywhere. He is pushing and pushing and pushing, and he is not losing hope. He wants to change things for the worse, not for the better. But this is what we need. Whenever we have priests like this in the Catholic Church, we need them to leave. It's the best thing for the church. You can pray for him. I mean, hopefully he changes his views on all this. But while he has them, it's better for him not to be a priest and not to corrupt the church than keep pushing away. You know, and a lot of these priests do tend to be in Germany. I mean, the Synodal Way in Germany, very big, very popular. I'm not having a go at German Catholics. I'm sure there are plenty of great German Catholics, but some of your priesthood folks, unfortunately, not so good. Participants in the German Synodal Way have voted in favor of draft texts calling for same-sex blessings and changes to the catechism on homosexuality as well as women priests. By the way, I think the Pope was for the Synodal Way. He certainly hasn't spoken out against it. Admitting in an interview to having broken the promise of celibacy, that's another problem, right? This is a priest who, he wanted all this change, and while he was still in the church, he broke his celibacy. And he was still there, and he was still a priest, he was still doing mass. I mean, he can do that. That doesn't affect the sacraments and all that, but I'm sure his people, his parishioners probably didn't realize that was the case. And I just wonder how many other priests there are similar to this priest, pushing all the ideas, pushing all these similar ideas who have also broken their celibacy a long time ago. Sturm told the local newspaper Mannheimer Morgen that he had long doubted whether the Catholic Church was a good fit for me, even in seminary and as a pastor. But in the office of Vicar General, it was easier for me to ponder these doubts and think about quitting, said Sturm, who led the Speyer diocese for several months during the prolonged absence of its bishop for health reasons. In a number of interviews with German newspapers, Sturm said that he was launching a book about his experiences. He's basically going to write a book essentially trashing the church, probably, and talking about how rigid it is and how old-fashioned and how he doesn't want to get with the times and all the problems that he had when he was in it. The title of the publication, scheduled for release in June, is I Have to Get Out of This Church, with the subtitle, Because I Want to Remain a Human Being. If you are in the Catholic Church, it takes away your humanity, apparently. A vicar general speaks out. So it's, I have to get out of this church because I want to remain a human being, a vicar general speaks out. According to a press release by the publisher Herder, Sturm said, For me, there was only ever the Catholic Church and my life in it and with it. In the meantime, I have been asking myself for some time whether I am also codependent. Codependent on this church. This image with codependency came to my mind because people write to me over and over again, because of you, I'm not leaving the church, but do I want to? Old Catholics belong to a movement originating primarily in the Netherlands, Germany, and Switzerland, consisting of Catholics who were excommunicated over their refusal to acknowledge papal authority in dogmatic matters following the First Vatican Council. So that's what he's going to become, an Old Catholic, as it said earlier. And it seems that it's predominant in Holland, Germany, and Switzerland, so kind of Central European areas. In Old Catholic communities, women can be ordained, remarriage after divorce is possible, and homosexual unions are blessed. Of course, none of this has the approval of the Church, and none of this is valid. Sturm is not the only prominent German Catholic figure to gravitate to the Old Catholics. Another notable case is that of Anselm Bilgri, the former prior of the Bavarian Abbey of Andechs. The ex-Benedictine monk made headlines in Germany on May 17th over claims that Pope Francis had dismissed him from the clerical state for reportedly conducting Catholic weddings and baptisms despite having left the church and joined the Old Catholics in 2020. As far as baptisms go, I thought baptisms could be done even by non-clergy, so I suppose he would be able to do a baptism, unless he'd specifically been told not to. But Catholic weddings, he wouldn't be able to do. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Anyway, speaking to the German tabloid Bild, Bilgri accused the Archdiocese of Munich and Freising of having snitched on him and said that the Pope had punitively dismissed him from the clergy for persisting in church schism. Oh, here's a name. Frank Everschumrode, a former Dominican friar, joined the Old Catholics several months ago. He previously taught Catholic theology at various colleges and universities. Like Bilgri, Everschumrode is openly homosexual. Matthias Ring, who serves as Bishop of the Old Catholics in Germany, said in April that there had been a general uptick in interest among German Catholics, according to katholisch.de, a website funded and run by the German Bishops' Conference. There were an estimated 15,500 Old Catholics within the community's single German diocese in 2017. So, that's that article. And once again, I just want to repeat, those guys that left, this guy leaving as well, Andreas Sturm, the best thing that can happen in this situation. If this is how he feels, get out of this church. Because this church isn't going to change its key catechism, its laws. Because how could it? How could the church for so long be saying, this is a sin, and then suddenly go, actually, you know what? No, we've changed our minds, it isn't. Or it isn't anymore, we've decided. It's not going to happen. So in a way, I feel sorry for all these people who keep pushing and thinking that it's going to change. And in a way, this guy is right, Andreas Sturm, because he lost hope that it's going to change, because it won't change. Fingers crossed. And if it does all change, then I think that will be it. I think that's going to be the end of the church and maybe the world. But there's that article, just in case you missed it. So here's this former German priest talking about all these things that disappoint him, that they haven't changed. You know, no female clergy, no blessing of homosexual unions, celibacy still an issue. All these things that the church won't budge on. And, you know, good riddance that he's going. I'm not... In a way, this is a good story that he's gone, because if he was still there, he would be more problematic. And the fact that he's decided to go is good. But there it is, folks. So there's that article. Feel free to leave your comments. I do read the comments. And thank you very much for watching. See you again soon.